Well, more of your tax dollars wasted. Just months after getting $400,000 in stimulus cash, a truck terminal in Tennessee is now sitting idle. What's worse, days before the truck terminal even received that federal grant, it had already filed for bankruptcy a few days afterwards. Why do these failed stimulus projects continue to pop up? Well, Congressman Phil Gingrey joins me now live from D.C. So let me correct that. What happened here, Congressman, is that this company received stimulus money, and then a few days afterwards, they filed for bankruptcy, correct?
That is correct, Gretchen, yes.
Okay. So this is Mountain Plaza, Inc. What were they attempting to do with this $400,000 at this truck stop?
Well, if you've noticed any of these large truck stops on interstates, the truckers, the 18-wheelers pull in, and they don't just gas up with diesel fuel. A lot of times they'll park there for the night and sleep 6 or 8 hours, and they have to keep the engines running to either cool themselves in the summertime or heat themselves in the wintertime. This would replace that with electricity so that you wouldn't be polluting the atmosphere, and it was a good plan. I mean, the idea, I think, is a good idea. But the problem here is the lack of vetting, rushing money out the door. This was only 1/10 the amount of the Cylinder loan, which was, I think, $500 million. This was $450,000. But the point is, it's money pouring down the tube because the federal government, or the state government in this case, in conjunction with the feds, not properly vetting, not looking at this and realizing it. Red flags everywhere, Gretchen, and yet the money, our money, still went out the door.
Well, Congressman, do you have any idea how this vetting process works? Because I recall the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, telling us that he was going to be looking after every penny. Remember that?
I do remember that, and you know, it makes you wonder, Gretchen, if the vetting is not more about who gave what to whom, what candidate, bundling of money, how much money, rather than really who has the best system, plays by the rules, regular order, as we call it on the House floor, and deserves to get this loan, these loans, so that we can go forward with renewable, clean energy. I'm all for that. But when this political process comes in, that's when you screw up.
Well, Congressman, let me ask you this, because there was that bundler tied to the Cylinder deal, the wealthy man, I believe, from Oklahoma, who had visited the White House many times.
George Kaiser.
Is there a political connection in this situation in Tennessee that you know of?
There is not that I know of in this particular situation, but there are others that went out the door, Gretchen, right at, you know, this program, the big program ended on September the 30th. So the last day of the month, they had to get another $6 billion out the door, or that money went back to the Treasury. And so there are several others that went. There was one, in fact, $1.2 billion, and they rushed it out the door, and they said, oh, no, we've thoroughly vetted it, and you don't have to worry about it. It's not another Cylinder. Well, that remains to be seen, particularly because people that were involved in these other loan programs, these other ventures, were also big, huge bundlers for Obama in 2008.
Right. I got to get this statement in for TCOT. The spokesperson, B.J. Dowdy, says EPA did not require financial or criminal background checks or information to be disclosed on grant applications. As a member of Congress, can you do something about this? I mean, if in fact that there is going to be more stimulus, I know that you wouldn't vote for it, but is there anything that members of Congress can do to make sure this vetting process is improved?
Absolutely, Gretchen. We can and we will. And I'm not blaming the Tennessee Department of Transportation, because he's absolutely right. Now, they have gone back and said no more loans are being funded from the EPA through us unless the proper vetting in regard to criminal record and prior bankruptcies and that sort of thing is done by us, the due diligence. But, you know, we're going to continue to study these issues on the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce, chaired by Representative Cliff Stearns from Florida. And we want to connect every dot before we blame anybody. We're going to make sure we do this thing right and see where the buck stops.
All right. Congressman Gingrey, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you, Gretchen.